Okay, so we're gonna eat two raw eggs today. We got the 13 eggs, and everything else is kind of getting ready to go here. But anyway, so before you eat an egg raw, you should make sure that there's no cracks or anything wrong with the egg. It should look, and feel smooth and all that good stuff. Next thing you want to do is the first step to make sure there's no like empty air inside the egg, so it's solid and everything, is you want to just hold to your ear and shake that shit. If you hear anything sliding around in there, it means there's probably an air pocket in there, which means there's probably a crack in the shell, which means you probably don't want to eat it raw. It's got an increased risk of salmonella or whatever that shit is. Another thing you can do, which I'm not really sure how it works, because I've never seen the egg wobble incorrectly, but apparently you're supposed to roll it, and if it wobbles back and forth, that's a good sign. I never really figured out the wobblingness of a raw or hard-boiled egg. That never really came up for me. Anyway, after you do that, you don't wash it off. I already washed these, but yeah, you just use some hot water and rinse them off, rub them with your hands, no big deal. Okay, after that, let's see, I'm gonna have to put the camera down after that. So anyway, after that, what you'll do is you'll submerge the egg completely in water, like so. And if there's no air bubbles coming out of it, you again can be pretty sure that there's no cracks in it. There's no air in there. And also, if it doesn't float to the surface. So it's got to sink, and there's got to be no air bubbles in that shit. Okay, once you've done all that shit, you've run the egg through all those tests, you can crack it. So yeah, just, standard egg cracking procedure at that point. And there's one more thing that you want to do. Well, maybe you don't want to do it, but there's one more thing you should probably do. When eating raw eggs, the egg whites are very poorly digested by humans. Our digestive systems can't really break down the proteins in the egg whites. Now, it's different when you cook them. When you cook the eggs, the cooking process actually pretty much breaks down the egg whites for us, and it's not such a big deal. But raw, that shit is difficult to digest, and it's almost not even worth eating raw. The egg yolks, on the other hand, are actually perfectly digestible raw, and I know it screams bro science, but a lot of people seem to think that eating them raw can be better. So yeah, ideally you just want to eat the yolks. The whites, just cook them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eat the yolks, and then I'm going to throw the whites in with the eggs that I'm cooking. And the other thing, of course, if possible, what you want to do is get the free-range grass-fed chickens, because those are usually the healthiest. But I'm just using regular run-of-the-mill chicken eggs because I'm on a budget here, and whatever, it's not a huge deal. But yeah, so just fish out your yolks, let the whites separate, and you'll always have a little bit of white left on the egg. Especially this one thing tends to get stuck, and I could pull it off if I wanted to, but that would mean I need to set this down. But that little white thing connected to the yolk, it's like the, I don't know what you call it. It's like the umbilical cord of the egg. But yeah, if you can get some of that off, that's great, because that again is not too easy to digest. So then you just, eat the yolk. You can swallow it or whatever. Don't need to chew it. Tastes just like a cooked yolk. Just tastes like a yolk. The egg white, on the other hand, tastes like shit when it's not cooked. It's not even yummy, so I don't understand why anybody would want to eat it. But So that's good. And again, I gotta stress, when you want to select eggs for raw consumption, you gotta wash the shells, because eggs rarely, very rarely, are contaminated with salmonella or whatever. But when they are, it's almost always on the shell of the egg and not in the egg. So, yeah, if you wash the outside off, you'll almost completely eliminate your risk of having salmonella in what you're eating. But yeah, so that's me eating raw eggs. How exciting.